Welcome to this special event live from the Quiltfolk studio here in the UK. We've got some amazing prizes and exclusive discounts to give away during the next 90 minutes. So if you're watching with us then, stay tuned because you could be a winner.
So we're your hosts. I'm Jenny Smith.
And I'm Kay Walsh.
We're quilters, teachers, authors and your trusted tour guide for Quiltfolk adventure workshops.
In recent years, Quiltfolk has become more than just a print magazine and has branched into online education. And here we try to do everything the same as the magazine. We've got the same goals that they have. We want to introduce you to amazing quilters, to inspire you with beautiful projects and to celebrate our community together.
So this event today is a fantastic way to bring us all together, meeting across many different time zones, and we can see already in the chat there are people from all over the world joining us, which is fantastic. Quiltfolk magazine, this is the latest issue here, so that travels across different states in the US. But in the online adventures, then we go beyond that as well. So this evening, prepare yourselves for a trip across the world and lots of different destinations. And you'll probably also hear lots of different accents. So this one is from Yorkshire.
Well, yeah, we're kind of both from Yorkshire, aren't we? Yeah. I'm originally from Lancashire, but I've made it over the border to what Jenny would say is the right side of the Pennines.
Yes, definitely.
So what is today all about? Here's what we've got in store for you. So our goal is to try and give you a taste of what the adventure workshops involve, what they look and feel like, what the projects we make during them, and we're going to be giving away lots of goodies, some discounts, and we got an exclusive peek at our new adventure in Scotland.
Yes, so it's soon going to be our 1 year anniversary of Adventure Workshops. So a big thank you to hundreds of you, the students who've taken part and taken that leap of faith to try something different and come along with us. But everybody is welcome to this event. It's free and we'd love you to subscribe to Quiltfolk's YouTube channel and to encourage your friends to watch and join in as well.
So today is also a special day for Quiltfolk founder Mike McCormick. It's his birthday, so we wanted to just also say happy birthday to Mike.
Yes. Cheers. We've got water.
We've got some water because it's rather hot here in the UK, surprisingly.
Yes, it's midnight.
It's midnight and it's still warm, and even though it's September, although we seem to get this a lot in September, don't we, where the heat comes back. We've had a bit of a rubbish summer. But now it's warm, all the children are going back to school again.
Yes. So we can just show you quickly overhead at some of the prizes that we have got here. So you can see from different locations that we've travelled to, and we'll tell you more about those as we go along. In order to take part in each of the giveaways, then you do need to be watching via YouTube, and we need you to be able to just chat in the function there, which we can see lots of you are doing already. So if you're watching this at the moment and you're on Quiltfolk's Facebook page, then we've pinned a comment there that's got the link straight through to the YouTube as well, and we'll keep explaining as we go along how to do that. But if you haven't got a login, a Gmail account, and you try to comment in YouTube, it's really user friendly and it will just tell you what to do to sign up, and it only takes a couple of minutes, so you've got plenty of time to get started with that as well. So if you are in the chat, just so that you know it's working, then we thought we'd ask you all a question, which is where's the last place that you travelled to? How about you, Kay?
Well, I've actually just got back from Mallorca, haven't I? Which, was lovely. But the water in Mallorca don't taste like what it ought.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, name that film. No, it was lovely. Really nice. Warm.
Last minute
getaway. What about you?
Well, I went to Provence, so inspired by our trip with Quiltfolk last November. I really loved it, so I went back this summer.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So beautiful.
And took my mum and dad and the kids and my husband. So it was very nice.
Yeah.
So we're all refreshed. It feels like we love autumn, don't we? It's kind of get back to learning and
Yeah, it's all a new start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we travel 3 times a year to create these adventures, and the team, there's 4 of us. So there's Jenny and me and our wonderful camera crew, Chris and James, and hopefully you can see a photograph of us all here together on our recent trip to Hawaii. So this was us filming together. Okay.
So what is a Quiltfolk Adventure Workshop? Well, each one is presented as 6 hours of content, although we often do run over a little bit, and it premieres live over 2 days. So it's broken into 2 3-hour workshops on consecutive days, and we publish the dates of when those are going to be a good few months in advance, so you can mark them in your diary. And this experience that we do, it can be bought either as a single ticket or what we call our adventure passport, and that entitles you to have 3 adventures over the course of 12 months. And what that means is that overall, by subscribing to a passport, then you save a total cost of $90, which is obviously really good. So you're almost getting one of those adventures, 6 hours of content, for free. And we're going to be giving away 3 adventure passports during this event, so with a value each of $270. If you're someone who's already purchased that and already travels with us, but you do luckily win today, then we will waive the fee on your next renewal as well. So you're all in with a chance of some nice goodies.
Yeah. So once you sign up for a workshop, and if that's either a single ticket or a passport, then you've basically got a Quiltfolk account, and your learning experience can begin with us on our specially designed adventure hubs. You get lifetime access to the content, so you can go back and watch it as many times as you want, which is really useful, especially for the tutorials and things like that. If you don't pick it up first time, it really doesn't matter, because you can just go back and watch it as many times as you like. So we thought it'd be a nice idea to give you a bit of a look around one of the hubs if you haven't seen them already. So we're going to look at the Scotland one. So hopefully you can see here that when you first go in, you can see the attendee resources. It says welcome to the hub, and there's a little video there to show you I think that's the trailer for that one, and then the dates and a workshop overview. So the workshop overview just gives you an insight into what we're going to do and includes some highlights. So you can see here in the Scotland workshop, we've got some masterclasses with award-winning quilter Sheena Nurquay. We're talking about Celtic symbolism with Ruth Black. We've got history and music and whiskey with fiddle player Bruce McGregor, and lots of other things, including a tour of the Loch Arran Mill to find lots about tartan. And then down the left-hand side, you can see there are some more tabs, and we'll just talk you through each of those.
So in the dates and time section, that will show you when the live premiere of that workshop is, so that you can mark that date in your diary. It will also tell you, obviously, that you can watch live, but that content is then there after that date on demand as well for you to consume, and you do get lifetime access to everything that we produce.
In the live sessions tab, you can see there's a little button there saying live webinar coming soon, and once the date gets nearer and we're ready to go live with the premiere, the link will come in there, so you simply click on that and it takes you through each day to the webinar live.
Prep and instructions is fantastic. So as soon as you book onto one of our adventure workshops, or if you're taking them past workshops, then this is where you would go as your first port of call, and this is where the preparation and instructions are. So there's always a very thorough prep video by myself and Kay that talks you through the project details and the kit list and anything else that you can do beforehand. There's a really good project description. In Scotland, we've also got as an extra prep video about choosing fabrics with our expert Sheena Nurquay, and it tells you about a bonus tutorial in this case as well that we've also got. So lots of resources there.
Yeah, we like to appeal to all the senses. So as well as stitching, we like to share recipes for those of you that might want to eat and drink along with us. And we always share something from the area that we've travelled to. So here you can see that Ruth, who is in part of the workshop, made us this delicious dish called Cranachan, which was very, very tasty and includes whiskey. So you can see there, you've got the recipe of how to make that. So yeah, you'd be more than welcome to eat along with us whilst you're doing your sewing or just listening to what we've got to say.
And then what we have, and what we're really proud of, I think, in these adventures is that whenever you take them, you have instant access as well to a private Facebook community that's just for these adventure workshops. It's really active. There's people posting in there every day. People are lovely, amazingly supportive and creative. I'm sure that some of you who are joining us tonight will be part of that group and would agree with us on that. Kind of feels like your own little private quilt guild, and definitely spurs people on to get projects finished and to share them and celebrate.
Absolutely. In the goodies tab, there's different things depending on the workshop. So one of the things is that you can buy this Quiltfolk Adventure Notebook if you wanted to keep a journal of all the projects you're making. That's really beautiful. And then if there's any special kit that you're available to buy for one of the projects, so for example the Celtic knot here, you can see there's this Scenic Scotland kit and people can purchase that as well. And we also do for every workshop a sticker sheet, so you can download the stickers that you see there on the right and pop them into your journal or use them wherever you want.
And then you can always ask questions, so whether it's before the workshop, during or after, or obviously people then use that to send us details about their finished projects, then that comes straight to us. So we, as I said, we're your tour guides, but we're always there as well. So all those resources are in a hub, and for each workshop that you take with Quiltfolk, you get access to a separate hub, so nothing gets mixed up. It's really clear where you can go, and after the live event then the recordings are in there where you then go back and watch all of the tutorials and the interviews.
Yeah. So where did it all start? It began in Wales last September, and the first film we're going to share tonight, which hasn't been seen outside of the workshop so far, features a very famous textile treasure from that country, and we're going to follow that by our first giveaway prize. So to be in with a chance of winning our first prize, you need to enter the word, well, it's an exclamation point followed by the word giveaway, and I think that's up on the screen now. Now it's very important that giveaway is written all in lowercase. Yes. So exclamation point giveaway, type that into the chat and hit send, and then you will automatically be entered into the draw by some magic that the guys have sorted out.
There's a robot, a Quiltfolk robot helping us out.
Does it all. So as soon as you type that in and it's in the chat, that automatically gets taken, and then we'll do a random generator and it will pop us out with a winner afterwards. But you've got about 9 minutes to make sure you've put that in the chat, because we're going to start off by taking a deep dive into the Wrexham tailor's quilt.
Making this Magic of Wales workshop just gets better and better. We weren't sure that we would be able to see this quilt because it's on a touring exhibition and not at its real home, but we've made it. What do you think?
Another one that just kind of blows your mind, doesn't it?
So it's the tailor's quilt made here in the city of Wrexham in the north of Wales. Who did it, Kay?
James Williams, who was, well, a military man, wasn't he, and a tailor. And so this is all tailors' samples, leftover fabrics, as we believe to be, don't we?
Yeah, and we came in here, it's behind glass, so it's exhibited to keep it really, really safe. And it was quite dark as well, and then we've just set up our lights to film, and we were like, oh my goodness,
it's those colours.
Yeah, because those reds and blues are just beautiful and so much brighter when you see them in good light.
So Jenny, they call this the tailor's quilt, but it's a coverlet, isn't it, really, rather than a quilt?
It is, yeah. And I think it's, well, so it's a bit like they've cut out the shapes and slotted them in, and then there's the tiny whip stitching, isn't there, to join it. So no applique. No, so like inlaid, or like intarsia when you do it in wood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is quite rare, but I think there's quite a lot of military quilts, and I guess you can do that with wool, because it would have, or with, it's like wool applique, isn't it, or what have you these days?
Yeah.
Because then it's sturdy, and it looks furry, doesn't it?
It does. You can see the texture, yeah, absolutely. And like you say, when you get close, you can see those little whip stitches between each piece, can't you? But some of the pieces are tiny.
Yeah, I mean, the level of detail he's gone to. So this is a viaduct nearby, isn't it? In a town I'll pronounce terribly. So maybe we'll ask Ellen to do that, with a little train going over.
No, with the flag on it, maybe. Is that?
Yeah.
And little houses.
But look at that little window. Like, you'd think, if that would have been me, I'd be like, I'll just do a beige window. But he's done it with all the stonework individually, hasn't he?
It's arched. It's not even square. It's arched as well. Yeah, so you've got the viaduct and then the Menai Bridge.
Yes.
Which obviously a famous bridge, isn't it, in Wales?
Thomas Telford.
Was it Thomas? Oh, you remembered your schoolwork.
I did. I paid attention in history. We all have to learn about that, don't we? It's like an engineering feat in British history.
And then some scenes that seem to be biblical, you would think.
Yeah, I think people have definitely said that's
this Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark here, and then possibly, yeah,
Jonah and the whale.
Yeah, that looks a bit gruesome. Look,
because his legs are sticking out of the whale there, aren't they? So I'm guessing that's supposed to be Jonah there with his legs dangling out of the whale's mouth.
Is that?
I'm not sure.
Cain and Abel?
Maybe.
I think I heard that they're in it.
Ah, okay, that would maybe make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's definitely, look, there's the dove with the olive branch above the Noah's Ark, isn't there? Look at the toucan.
Oh yes, hadn't seen that. Hadn't spotted that at all. And this snake, maybe that's the snake from Adam and Eve.
It's like bonkers, isn't it?
It's bonkers, but there is, I don't know.
There's flow.
There's flow, and there's some order. There's some symmetry because the left and the right sides have got the same patterns as the chevron on each side, and the checkerboard on points, and then these four kind of fans.
Yeah,
Dresden type fans, aren't they, in each corner?
They kind of remind me of like propellers or the planes or a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
I mean, would you look at it and think a man's done it?
No, I don't know. Not necessarily.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? I think, like, the military palette, definitely.
Yes, and
but
the
like,
colours.
It's so cute.
The face of this, well, we think it might be a panther, but the embroidered eyes and whiskers.
Like, such character, especially, he's definitely...
And the giraffe.
Commanding, isn't he?
Yes.
The attention at the centre of it. But he's very charming and sweet.
And like you spotted these, patchwork pieces here that look like stripy squares, I suppose, don't they? But they've obviously been pieced together, haven't they, in quarters?
Yeah, so that's just taking a stripe, cutting it and repositioning it in an hourglass block, isn't it? Like, Kate's done some cool quilts like that, so that you create new patterns with the squares. I mean, they might have even been stripes on a uniform or a scarf or something, might they?
Yeah. And a pagoda up there, so that's unusual.
Yes.
But again, the kind of window, how he's done maybe the glass of those windows.
Yeah, so there's some just kind of embroidered.
Yeah, embellishments.
But really neatly and very finely done, like the whiskers and the little speckles around his nose. They're like teeny tiny running stitches. They're not French knots, are they? They're flat.
I think they're just like single running stitches. Yeah, and the bird's eyes, like this little bird here, whatever he is. And the flowers are beautiful, aren't they?
There's the four symbols of Great Britain.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's the Irish shamrock.
English rose up on the top left.
A Scottish thistle.
And a Welsh leek.
And a Welsh leek, yeah. So...
And the crown up in the top.
Yeah.
Top centre. I guess that came from his military background, probably, didn't it? They have to pledge allegiance to the crown, I think, don't you, in the military?
But it's just like there's quirky, gorgeous little things out there, like there, that stripe doesn't quite, where he's inlaid one piece, it doesn't kind of quite match, but it's very sweet. And then where the design, like there, the little, if this is a foxy or something, the little tail continues beyond the next border. Like you don't see, like there's been massive errors. I mean, there's a few little lines out there, like where maybe he's made a cut or pieced something.
Like here near the giraffe's head.
Yeah.
And maybe a little
maybe there's more of that when you look closely, but it's charming. Like this is proper, has that kind of real improv feel like we saw in some of the patchworks, doesn't it? Where the stripes just end and there's so much movement. And then they're like whole Lone Star blades.
There's 4 of those, again, in each kind of corner, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, aren't there? That, look like a piece from a Lone Star.
And I guess maybe it's a coverlet, but if it's wool,
it's a warm coverlet.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily need to quilt it, or would you want to then stitch through it all again and break up that design? I don't know really.
I wonder if he used it, or if
it was in the original family, wasn't it? I know that before it was donated to the museum and showcased in its lifetime. Like it went to some big shows and international shows, and one here, I think.
Okay.
So kind of being exhibited as a work of art.
Okay.
But whether he did it with that intention or whether he just did it,
someone told him.
Yeah. But you can tell he kind of is proud of his home and his heritage, isn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah, and the colours are just gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah, and to go to all that effort, I mean, they could have just been bigger. You could have scaled it all up and saved yourself a year or two, couldn't you? But
and we'll find out, won't we, from when we get to St Fagans, exactly how many pieces of fabric there are.
Over 4,000.
It's over 4,000, but I'm sure they'll know exact number. So
yeah,
it's a lot of individual piecing, isn't it?
And when we're doing this, we always wish we could have if we could all actually be here in this room. But we can't see all the quilts in all the world, can we? But I hope you feel the excitement, because it really, if you ever get the opportunity to see it and you're in Wales, then it's definitely pretty mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you everyone for entering. We can see that's all working fine. So if you've typed it in, you have been entered. So we'll reveal the winner shortly.
Yeah, if you haven't had the confirmation, it's just that the robot's a bit overwhelmed. But when the boys are just looking at the big spreadsheet and everyone's names are there, so don't worry about that. So the rest of the story and the answers to some of our questions about the Wrexham Tailor's quilt are in the Magic of Wales workshop, when we went to the home of where it belongs to St Fagans and chatted with the curator there. The good news is that you can purchase that workshop if you want to, and we've got a discount code coming up for that as well today, and we're actually doing another repeat live premiere of the Magic of Wales. So we've got the dates for that, which is the 8th and the 9th of December. So if you buy it, or if you've already bought it, then you can watch the live premiere again and join in. And there's actually brand new footage as well, because we travelled back to the Welsh Quilt Centre a couple of weeks ago and filmed some new gorgeous Welsh flannel patchworks, didn't we?
Yeah,
at this year's show. We had a whole day there when it wasn't open to the public, so there's going to be brand new footage when we replay the Magic of Wales as well.
Yeah, so the first prize that you've entered for is 2 beautiful books, and we're going to take a look at these now. So we've got, first of all, The Quilt, which is by Valeriane Leblond, and she is an author and an illustrator, and she is in the Magic of Wales workshop, and this is a beautiful book that she wrote and illustrated.
She includes real patchworks, doesn't she?
Does.
From Jen Jones' collection.
Yeah, just gorgeous. So that's the first book.
And the second one is this one. So it's Amish Quilts and the Welsh Connection. Really, really fascinating. That's by Dorothy Osler. And again, we talked to Jen Jones, who's set up the Welsh Quilt Centre and is a fantastic collector of quilts. And we interview her in the workshop. And all that comes to light, you can see a lot of connections between the early Welsh patchworks and then the Amish quilts. So these are one prize, 2 books, and
So let's find out who the winner is.
We need a drum roll.
We're doing a drum roll. Okay, so I think, guys, if you end that one, and we should be able to see, hopefully, coming up in the chat, who the winner is. Can you see that, Jenny?
It's Janet Borchard has won a book bundle.
Wonderful. So well done, Janet. So you need to send us your postal address, basically. And if you send that via email...
Yes, if you send it to Jenni, so Jenni @quiltfolk.com, get in touch with me after the event and we'll get that out to you.
Well done for winning these lovely books. Okay.
So every single adventure workshop that we do has a unique stitching project, and in Wales it was one that Kay and I designed together when we went and did all of our research and filming there. It's a really nice quilt with lots of piecing tricks in there, so nice shortcuts for doing half square triangles and flying geese. Kay also teaches some hand quilting. This is where there's lots of Welsh motifs, so there's a whole hand quilting plan as well in the Wales hub, and a butted edge binding, which is how Welsh quilts were traditionally finished.
Yeah, and you can see at least one of the versions. This is the one that I'm currently working on, that I haven't actually finished doing the quilting on it yet myself, so got some quilting still to finish there, and I think we can just about see the version that Jenni's been working on as well, in some lovely purple colours, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next giveaway that we're doing is going to be for a passport. So you need to enter again. So you're going to get very used to doing this now, because we need to, for the robot to work, we have to do a new one every time so that you can be entered each time for each giveaway. So we need you to do exactly the same thing again. So we're just going to pop it up on the screen. ! Giveaway, all one word, so no gaps. ! Giveaway, all in lowercase. And pop that in the chat again, and you will be entered for one of the passports that we're giving away.
Yes, and whilst you're doing that, then we've got some brand new footage of the quilt that inspired the Spiral Star quilt that we filmed, like I said, when we popped back to Wales. So we're going to share that with you now. So we're back here with this special quilt that was made by Mary Miles, who was the mayoress in Swansea. The colour palette inspired our Spiral Star quilt for the Magic of Wales workshop, and it's really interesting what we've just been learning about conservation of this quilt.
Yes, so this has been conserved rather than restored, so nothing new has been added on top. They've just taken real care to try and mend any bits of damage and stuff. So when a quilt like this goes to a conservator, they'll take a look at it and decide what they can and can't do, what kind of condition it was already in. And this was in quite a bad condition, wasn't it? It was pretty dirty and definitely had some moth damage and little holes.
But not water damage?
No.
Which is interesting.
It is, yeah. So the conservator will have done a report, and you can see some of the things that they found during that report here, and then decided what to do with it. So it's been vacuumed with a very light vacuum to get rid of some of the dust, and then taken a damp cloth and just gently kind of tried to get some of the dirt off, but not giving it a wash because they think it was too delicate and that some of the colour was going to run if they did that kind of proper wet wash. So that didn't happen with this one.
No, and then there have been the areas that are register as quite bright purple. That was obviously silk that has disintegrated. That's the problem with silk, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so fine. So there's a very fine net that has been put over those areas there. So not across any other areas of the quilt, but just those delicate silks.
Yeah, and some of the blue sections, and you can see on the photograph here that there were some quite noticeable holes, and they've been repaired, and to such a great extent you can't really see them at all anymore, can you? It's such a good job that these conservators do. It's tricky work, I'm sure, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it really does. It's so effective, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think in each case, you know, Jen and Hazel, who she works with here, would decide, again, it's due to budget and time and everything, isn't it? Which quilts will be conserved, which would suit restoration more. And then we get to see them in shows like this.
Yeah. You can see a section here, can't you, where there was obviously some sort of tear or hole, and that's been repaired slightly as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the quilting thread, we've learned it's like a dark brown colour, isn't it?
Yeah. It registers quite black in places, doesn't it? But yeah.
And the conservators have also put a hanging sleeve onto this quilt as well, so it obviously had never been intended to be hung, but now we can see it like this. So this is the colour palette that this quilt behind us inspired. You're doing well, Kay?
Getting there. I'm a bit slower than I maybe should be on the quilting, but the spirals take quite a while. That's what I've found out.
Yeah, and you know, you're a busy lady.
We're doing other things in between, aren't we? But I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
The hand quilting is, and I think the wool batting is so nice to work with, isn't it? It really is. It's lovely to quilt.
Yeah, and I mean, so many people who've taken the workshop have made incredible quilts and their own versions as well. But nice to kind of see them together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Compare colours and things, and that nice sawtooth border. I think we love that. They're so charming, aren't they?
They are.
Little bit wonky, little bit Welsh, little bit crazy, and the quilting not always staying within the lines as well. So you are here with us watching the Big Adventure giveaway even, well, getting away and giving away,
Exactly, yeah.
with me, Jenny and Kay. Welcome if you've just joined us. If you win a passport, if you're a lucky winner today, then that means that you will get to do our upcoming workshop, Scenic Scotland, and the next 2 destinations within the 12-month period. And just like Quiltfolk magazine, we're not going to reveal everywhere we're going to in the future. But what we can tell you about the next 2 destinations is that they're going to be world firsts, so something that's never been done before, and they will be perfect for those of you who love colour, pattern and a little bit of literature.
Yeah, exciting. Okay, so just to reiterate, if you've entered the giveaway, even if it hasn't given you the confirmation, you haven't seen that pop up in the chat, don't worry, you have been entered. So we're going to find out who's won the first passport of today. So let's see who the winner is, please, guys. And let's see what pops up.
I don't think you can see that.
I can't read that far. Jenny's going to
out.
have to read it. My eyes are not going to do that. Okay, the computer's thinking about it.
Oh, Trudy Foot has won a Quiltfolk Adventure Passport. Congratulations,
well done,
Trudy.
Trudy. So again, please email us with your details to Jenni, so it's Jenni @quiltfolk.com, and we'll get that passport out to you.
And you can start learning. But again, we've got some special discount codes that we're going to share with everybody, so you've all got the chance to save a little bit of money this evening. So you can get a 15% discount on any upcoming single workshop, or the passport, which Quiltfolk don't normally do, so that's a good deal, or a past on demand workshop as well. And the code for that is EXPLORE 15. There's a lot of codes we're throwing at you, but it's going to come up and you can see that there, and that is going to be valid from now until September the 15th. So what you'll do is you'll go to Quiltfolk's website, purchase what you would like to do, and then before you check out, you'll pop in that code and it will instantly activate and take that discount off.
Yeah, okay. So next up came postcards from Provence, and this was an exciting opportunity for us to try and push our students to try something new and exciting. And in fact, we think it's the first comprehensive tutorial on coded needlework, or booty, which has been accessible online. So it was also our first experience of filming an in-depth tutorial on location, and we did that so that you could learn from the very best tutors. So the next film is going to introduce you to master sewist and former architect Hubert Valery.
Jenni, I show you a patchwork done by one of my friends, Patricia Martin. She was the first, she asked me to do a workshop. It's a very good souvenir. Okay, she does this, she makes this patchwork with, including my booties inside. Okay. And the main booty is a cicada. Cicada is the emblem of Provence. The sound of the cicada in the south makes the Parisian fool. They hate that. But the people of the south love that. It's the sound of their country. Okay. So it's a symbol, in fact. It's a symbol of the couple. You have a lot of cicada, ceramic cicada on the house. It symbolizes there is a couple here. Okay, it's not like cricket. Cricket is for the home. Cicada is for the people who live in this house. Okay. And when she does this patchwork, she wants to conserve the transparency of that. So I show you that she opened the back of the patchwork to have the light who goes through there, and it's the same for the cicada. Okay, it's a beautiful montage. I don't know in English. It's montage. It's a beautiful piece of. It's a beautiful patchwork. I love them, and she does for me. So he use only natural colors, and it was a great gift for me.
Oh, so we loved working with Hubert, didn't we? So there's lots in the Provence workshop. The Stitch project is a quilt that we designed together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Called the Shining Light quilt. And again, we really wanted to focus on showcasing the transparency of the booty, although also we did just do a simple patchwork centre if for any reason people didn't want to do that. But as you can see here on the overhead, we designed this centre which is where you stitch and do the cording. It's a very, very particular technique, but really portable. So fantastic to travel with.
Yeah.
And then the patchwork.
Yeah, so we've got these orange peel blocks here. We've got portholes, which we show you how to do 2 different ways. A wonderful way to show off some bit of fussy cutting there. And then on the borders, we show you how to make these really nice mitered borders. And again, how to finish off the edging. And if I just flip this over, you can see how we've made the bootie. Because it's reversible, we wanted to see the back as well. So we've then designed the back so that you can see that from both sides. So yeah.
Let's find out a little bit more about the fabrics that we've used. But after we're going to, the next giveaway is this very pretty bundle. So I think it's open for the next one. So same goes.
So type again. We're going to wait 1 second, actually. We're just being told by the guys. I think the robot's having a bit of a moment, maybe.
Okay.
So
first of all, let's learn actually a little bit.
No, we're good to go.
Oh, we're good to go.
So we're going to watch the film, but whilst the film's on, you can start typing giveaway again. So same again, exclamation point, giveaway, all lowercase, all one word, and that'll be to win this beautiful fabric bundle.
And the film we're going to show you is when we were down in Provence. And we went on location filming at a very special factory.
Yeah.
So enjoy. There's a very rich tradition of textiles here in Provence which transcends crafting and quilting into people's everyday lives and in their homes with upholstery and table linens and things like that.
So we've come to the town of Saint-Étienne-du-Grès to meet a very special company who are still making textiles in the Provençal style. Les Olivards dates back to 1818 and is currently being run by the 3rd generation of the Boudin family.
So let's go inside and meet them.
Hello, I'm Philip. I'm the 3rd generation of Olivard families, and in the company I am commercial, and I create some product or some fabric for new collection, and I'm in charge of the shop of Saint-Étienne-du-Grès.
Hello, I'm Jean-François Boudin. I'm the manager of Olivard from 1978 to 2018, and I am the 2nd generation of the Boudin family in charge of this unique story, which is the Provence Prince.
So we are a French printing factory in south of France, and the story has beginning as 1818, so it's a little bit different for the Olivard brand. So I start by my grandfather and grandmother. So if you want to see some drawing and some fabric of the beginning of the story, and after it's my father to make it, to continue the story of Provençal fabric.
The story of Provence Prince is a very long story, which began in the 17th century in Marseille, where they imported prints from Far East and began to develop French production. That's the birth of what we call Provence Prince. Our family has been involved in this business since the 1940s. When my father came to work with his sister, and they ran last company who printed fabrics in Provence, and they developed some new collections, new products, corresponding to the new way of life of the after World War II. And in the 1970s, my father and my mother left the partnership with my uncle, and we developed our own brand, which is called Olivad, which became very quickly worldwide known. And in these times, we sold something like 2/3 of our production was sold exportation, chiefly in Europe, United States, Japan, Australia, all the Western world. Today, we continue the production. We were the only one, and we are always the only one to print fabrics in Provence with speciality, with very special collections and style. And unfortunately, my mother died very quickly in 1986, but afterwards I worked with my sister for the creation. So it's a familiar business, and now it's Philippe, which is the third generation, who is in charge of the marketing, and they work with his brother, who is in Paris. And they too represent the new generation for the 21st century.
Okay, so the giveaway is still running. You've still got time to enter, but we're going to take a look, excuse me, at another quick film showing some of the fabrics that you could win. Jenny, I've been picking out some fabrics for our project.
And I left you for 5 minutes whilst I was looking at the quilts.
Well, after seeing all those quilts, I thought we needed to come and...
Oh, yeah.
So I've started with this one, which is the Fruchet that we saw being printed.
Yep.
So that's pretty beautiful, isn't it? And then I've just basically taken the colour inspiration from this one and picked out some other bits and pieces in those colours.
Yeah.
So we've got stripes. Yeah, we've got to have stripes. And these ones are stripy but with a bit of detail in. We've got some different colourways of that. And then I thought you'd like these ones.
Ah, yeah.
The Toile de Jouy.
Yeah. So a bit different substrates.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
I think we can handle that, can't we?
Yeah.
So that's in a couple of colourways as well. A blue of the same one.
Nice.
And then I thought we had to get one of these. I don't know what you'd call that, but it's like that.
Like
really,
the really
old.
Yeah, the archive.
Yeah.
See that in a lot of vintage, and I've never seen a print like that at home.
No,
You?
never. I
Okay.
really love that.
Yeah.
Just some different ones. Are kind of a bit of a more of a low volume.
Yeah.
Which might work for something. Bit of blue. We need to have a bit of blue, don't we? And then what about this for the back?
Have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're quite keen on these ones, aren't you?
Yeah, and then because it's so big scale, you kind of need it, don't you?
Yeah. We couldn't cut it up, I don't think.
No.
But so
Let's get back home, get in that studio.
because
Do some sewing. Yeah. Gorgeous. And how do we pay? Because isn't it in this little section?
because these are offcuts, we need to have them weighed because you pay by the kilo.
Okay.
So we need to
Pop them on
put
scales.
them on the scales, file them back up.
And any of our Quiltfolk people, if you come to Provence, you can come to this shop as well. So the printing process and everything is kind of behind closed door, but you're really welcome in here, and you can come in. There's all the fence here, or there's fabric and all the homeware that way. So it's an amazing place to spend a few hours, isn't it?
It is.
So we hope you enjoyed watching that as much as we enjoyed shopping. But we both also bought beautiful shirts made by Olive Arts, didn't we, when we were there?
We bought them for each other, didn't we?
Yes.
Because that was a good excuse then.
For Christmas and
exactly.
birthday kind of a thing. So welcome if you've just joined us. We're having lots of fun with the giveaways and sharing some content from our adventure workshop, so you get to know what they're a little bit about. With the project for Postcards from Provence, we had fun designing it, but then also playing with of different colourway inspirations, all of which live in the hub for those that take the workshop. And we had a look at some of the artists who loved hanging out in Provence as well and were really inspired by the light and the landscape. So we're just going to show you a few of those now.
Okay, so yeah, lots of inspiration there, and people definitely took it, didn't they, and ran with it. So we're going to look at some of those in a while. But okay, so this is the fabric bundle that you could be winning. We're going to end that giveaway now. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a little sneaky 7th fabric in there. So these are all that we bought back when we went on our trip from Les Olivards. So lots of kind of
nice
toile de jouy with big prints on, and some smaller prints, a little flowery one, and a couple of kind of more blendery looking ones there as well. So let's see who has won that, shall we? So hopefully again the guys can manage to get the robot to work. And it'll come up soon. Yeah, we definitely need a drum roll, don't we?
Yeah. We can see how many people we've got live, and also like hundreds of those names are coming through, so really don't worry if you're not getting that verification as well.
Yeah, you are being entered,
well.
yeah.
Okay,
so hopefully
it's in there. Rosemary Lane.
Okay, well done, Rosemary.
Nice,
it is a nice name, isn't it? So Rosemary, if you can let us know your postal address, we're going to need definitely for this one. So email it to us, Jenni@quiltfolk.com, and we'll get these sent out to you. Well done.
So if any of you who are watching are students who've taken the Provence workshop, then fantastic, and we're going to share some of those quilt finishes now, because actually I think the Provence workshop is the one that we've had the most finishes from, even though like people were pretty scared about trying something completely new, and everyone's is so unique, so we thought we'd just share a little 5-minute film there.
We are going to, but they need to enter again, because we're going to do our next passport giveaway after this. Okay. So start entering again for the next passport whilst we look at this gallery of
And don't worry about James and Chris, they are fine. I think someone has put they're probably overwhelmed with all of this, but it's
exciting. Not the computer. They are making it work, but we do actually have a computer as well that's helping them out, hopefully.
Yeah. So enjoy.
So thank you to everyone who finished a Shining Light quilt. They look absolutely beautiful, don't they?
Very proud of you all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. A couple of questions that are popping up in the chat. First of all, just to reiterate, don't worry if you don't think you see your confirmation come up in the chat saying that you've been entered to the giveaway. You have, and the guys can see that the giveaway, your entry is there. So don't worry if you don't see a confirmation. And we've had a few questions about the 15% code and whether that applies if you've already got a passport and you're doing a renewal, and we are finding out the answer to that from the guys at Quiltfolk, so we'll let you know as soon as we can.
Yeah, so we do have a good laugh producing these adventures, and we thought we'd just share our favourite blooper, really. Like I said, there's lots of different accents, certain things get lost in translation, so have a watch of this.
Of oil inside. And it's very nice to clean your booty. But, in fact, before cleaning the booty, you have to soak it.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I forgot.
Jenni got the giggles. Jenni's got the giggles.
It was wrong.
No, it's just her. That was shared with Hugh Bear's permission, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Kay, you were trying to control the situation at the time, and I did try really, really hard. Anyway, so.
Sometimes it's just too hard, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we're going to find out who's won the next passport, aren't we? So who the lucky winner is of the second passport giveaway. So let's have a look if we can find out who that is.
It is Ruth All, O-H-O-L. I hope I've pronounced that right.
Well done,
A name I
Ruth.
think I recognise.
Excellent.
So congratulations, Ruth.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. There's so many of you who've joined us, so
Yeah.
we do really appreciate that. So there's still more giveaways to
Not
come.
over yet.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so the Spirit of Hawaii, that was our biggest adventure trip today, and we visited obviously before the devastating wildfires that have affected Maui. So we just wanted to start off by sending love to everybody who might be there or people that know people in the area, and we hope everyone's okay. So on that trip, as well as studying Hawaiian applique with Master Kumu or teacher Pat Gorlangton, we went back in time to find out what happened before there was even cloth arriving in those remote islands, and we learnt the ancient art of kappa.
Yes, and we also, Hawaii was our first time filming in big institutions, so we were let into the Royal Palace there to see the Queen's quilt, and we also produced our first ever exclusive thread collection with Aurifil, which is going to be something that we're also giving away this evening. So we've got a box here. Just to show you, so it was specially designed. It says the Spirit of Hawaii on the back there, and it's 7 small spools of 50 weight Aurifil, so it's fantastic for piecing, and also for quilting as well. And we chose these colours based on the different colours of all of the Hawaiian Islands, didn't we? So it's full of happiness, I think. Absolutely. And a really nice box. And also we'll just show you a picture of the quilt project that we designed for the Hawaii workshop. We did a traditional breadfruit or ulu for the needle turn applique project, which can be a pillow. Or we also designed a quilt as well for people that wanted to perhaps do some machine piecing, and there's foundation paper piecing tutorials in that workshop. And so this is the kappa quilt, and we coloured it inspired there by fire and lava, one of them, and sea and sky. And just like those artist inspiration slides for Provence, we created lots of different versions for Hawaii, and people are busy stitching those, and have been doing those over the summer as well, haven't isn't there?
Yeah. So, time for the next giveaway to win the Aurifil thread collection. So you can start typing away again for that. So exclamation point giveaway, all lowercase. I think you've probably got it by now, but just in case you've just joined us, and you can be entered for the thread giveaway. So we timed our trip to Oahu in March, and that meant we could visit the Honolulu Festival, where there are lots of Hawaiian quilts on display. But we were really lucky because we got to meet local legend Sissy Sarau, and we're going to share a really moving interview with her now.
Well, aloha kako, and my name is Sissy Sarau, and today we're here at the Honolulu Festival, and we've been doing this festival for over, I believe, almost 15, 20 years, and it's been an amazing experience. Our quilters, we quilt throughout the year, and this is where we can show off all the work that the quilters have done, and it's the highlight of the year, and it's where we can show the best works that have been done in our class, and it's a really wonderful, unique group of women, and we are so blessed to have them part of our family, and we try to meet every week. COVID was difficult, but you can tell by what you saw at the festival that we're still together. We found ways to have lunch, we found ways to email and to call and to keep in touch, because it was important that not only continue our family or our friendship, but to continue the Hawaiian quilting. So, and that's what we've done. And I'm just overwhelmed, amazed at this festival. But after 4 years, we're back. And the quilts are beautiful. All the quilts you see, the larger ones, first time showing, we call it the COVID quilts. And we had over 21 quilts on the larger size and over, 20 plus quilts on the smaller pieces, and it was great. And I think if you look at every quilt and every design, the quilter can tell you the story of why they did that design, why they chose that color, and even what happened in their life, why they made that quilt. So every quilt for us, and we always tell people when you join the class, every quilt tells your story. It tells the story of what the quilt is, and it tells you the story of your life and the history and the memories that are tied to that particular quilt.
Hi, I'm Jennifer McCullough. I am a bioacoustician that works for NOAA Fisheries. I study whales and dolphins in the Cetacean Research Program, and I am a quilter with the Polokalani Hawaiian Quilting Club here on Oahu. So while we're at sea, we do cetacean surveys, and the goal of those surveys is to have a count of the number of whales and dolphins for each species in the region. And those numbers impact the Endangered Species Act for the U.S. and then impact how much you can interact with the fishery. So the most important science that we do is figure out how many of each species we have, and I do it with sound. A couple of ways that I do it are tow instruments behind the ship so that we can listen. We put instruments under the water for a year at a time, and we drift recorders. So my whole job is to eavesdrop and wait for animals to echolocate or whistle or burst pulse. So it's kind of entertaining that you are now recording me for this. While I'm at sea, I am waiting for whales and dolphins. I quilt, and my teacher and I was teaching me how to quilt and design them. And John and I worked together to create what I call is the flying ocean quilt. Flying squid, humpback whales, octopus, and the flying fish. And they're all animals that can come out of the water. And we just decided that that was something that would be unique for a quilt that he had never designed before. So traditionally, you would stitch the echo on a Hawaiian quilt with the color that it is. So white on white should be what you normally do. But I went out to sea to work on it. I took a whole bunch of blue thread and white thread because I hadn't decided what I was going to do. And I started stitching white on white to do the echo. And I couldn't see it. So instead I had to take it out and it became blue on blue. And the trick with that is, or blue on the white, which means you can see every single one of my stitches and it's not as forgiving. So if there is a little unevenness, I count that as the roll of the ship, as what happened. And it's my get out of jail free card with that one. The other I did is that it is normally you use poly cotton, which is a 5-ounce poly, to make it have that poofy look. And in Hawaii, the other quilts look beautiful, and I have made that. But I made a bedspread, and then I couldn't sleep under it because it was too hot. So this one is a thinner natural cotton, so that I could actually sleep under it and use it as the quilt that I spent so many years making.
Both of my parents, my mom and dad, came from quilting families. My dad's great-grandmother quilted, my mom's grandmother quilted, and when they got married, it was a wonderful blending of family, a quilting family. My mom started the classes. She was the quilter, but she was handicapped. She only had one hand. She had a left hand, and back in those days when you made a larger quilt, there was no such thing as small wall hangings or cushions, and you just made the bigger designs. And so my dad saw that she would have a difficulty doing that. So we actually had patterns that my mom inherited from her grandmother when she taught quilting classes. And my dad took the patterns and he downsized it, took parts of it, and he made 30 22 by 22 cushion patterns for her to start. And she became very good at it. And then she started her class. And the quilters would come and say, oh, you know what, I've done the 22 by 22. I want a larger one. And so my dad goes, okay, I'll try. And he started designing the 45s by 45s. And then he went to 45 by 60s. And then now he worked his way up to these amazing 90 by 90 and king size quilts that tells his story, the quilter's story. It tells the legends. It tells of the life that we live here in Hawaii, or the life that they've lived here in Hawaii. So every design that you see here, I would say 99% of it were designed by him, and it's his legacy with the quilter's legacy. My dad was an absolutely amazing designer. He was well sought after for his designs, because back in those days, people were tracing designs. We went through a long period of tracing, and if you went to a quilt show back in the 60s and 70s, you would have 12 carnations, and you would have roses and kukui nuts. So the designer became really important in Hawaii quilting, because finally you had designers saying, no, we're not going to design, we're not going to trace what previous people did. He wanted you to tell your own story. And so that's why the designs became very personal. Only you had the design. But he also tells us a story of the birds. He had several quilters that came up to him and said, John, I want a bird. And he would do the bird, and then all of a sudden they would leave, move back to where they came from, or move to someplace else. And then someone else would come and they would say, John, I would like birds on my quilt. And he would put birds on the quilt. And it had happened several times. And then one day, one of our quilters that we had become very close to came and said, John, I want lovebirds on my quilt. And he said, no, can't do it. Can't give you the lovebirds. And he said, yes, why? He goes, if I give you the lovebirds and I make that on your quilt, you're going to move away. And she said, I would never move. I love Hawaii. It's the best place to live. And several years later, she moved back to Texas. and we laugh about it. And she still, we talk about how she shouldn't have probably done the birds. But it was very interesting after that incident happened. Somebody came up to my dad and said, I love the owls you have on that quilt. And he goes, I don't do birds, there's no owls. She goes, yeah, there are owls. And he goes, no, that's a rose pattern. And she goes, no, take a look at it. And she looked at it, and there were the birds. So he always says, well, spiritually, he didn't do the birds, even though they were there. But he has his traditions. There's patterns he won't do and patterns he will. He was very spiritual about his designs. And we had one quilter that came in and said, you know, John, I want a hibiscus. And he goes, no, you're getting pineapples today. And she loved her pineapples. We're not sure why he wanted pineapples, but they got pineapples. Sometimes he just did stuff out of the ordinary that I have to look back and say, it had to be spirit driven, because one day he went and he drew this beautiful pattern, and then he folded it up and he put it back into the supplies that we have. And I said, Dad, what are you doing with that pattern? He goes, oh, no, somebody's going to come and ask for it. And then months went by, and all of a sudden, one of the quilters came up to John and said, you know, John, I'm looking for this pattern. You know, this is what I want. He goes, oh, you're the one. And he takes the pattern out, and he opened it. He goes, yeah, this is for you. And then we had a workshop on Molokai. And before the workshop, my dad kept seeing roses and hearts, hearts and roses. So he designed out the pattern. Again, he folded it back, put it in the containers and take to quilting. And we did the workshop on Molokai. And the person that sponsored us there, it was funny. After the class, and she came up to my dad and she goes, you know, John, my mom just passed away, and I was thinking of making her a quilt in her memory, and I really, really would like hearts and roses. And my dad would go, oh, you're the one. Takes out the pattern, and he would do that. He would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you know, I could hear him drawing, and I would go, Dad, what are you doing? He goes, I need to get this pattern traced, or I'm never going to get any sleep. And he would keep it, and someone would come in and ask for the pattern. So he always believes his design were spirit-filled. My father always had a saying, and he would always tell the quilter, I am nothing. He goes, I am nothing, because if you don't do the quilt, it doesn't live. So he said, when you take it and you make the pattern, he lives too. And so he always said, it's just a design on paper, that's all it is. But you, the quilter, gives it life. You give it spirit. You give it energy. And so for me, he's here.
Wonderful, Sissy. And we just wanted to say that these little films that we're showing you today are just a tiny glimpse into what you get if you join in the 6-hour adventure workshops that we do. So just a taster, and there's lots more obviously in all of them. And we just wanted to share with you, after Sissy had watched the Spirit of Hawaii workshop, she very kindly sent us an email, and we just wanted to read you a little bit of that now. So she says, Aloha e ke ame Jenni. I pray all is well with both of you, as well as your team at Quiltfolk. I've been very busy juggling several different quilt projects and finally realised that I can't have that many balls in the air. So I stopped the juggling for a little while so Tuffy and I could finally watch the video Spirit of Hawaii, and we cried and laughed and was filled with hope, gratitude, and so proud to be part of this video. There are many magazines, TV shows, documentary companies who come to film our classes and quilters, as well as other quilters, and never get it. They really don't get why we do what we do, but both of you got it, all of it. The passion, the history, the passing down of the tradition, the culture, but most of all, the quilters who continue this amazing art. The whole show was overwhelming, and my sister and I felt proud of what my mum and dad John started and why we continue the classes. Quiltfolk should be proud of what you've both accomplished. I know we are, and I'm so happy all of you were here during our yearly quilt exhibit. Again, I just wanted to say thank you for what you do for quilting worldwide and for producing such an amazing video. It truly is the spirit of Hawaii. And we were really, really touched, weren't we, when we got that email?
Yeah, because I think when we go, wherever we go on location, we want to work with the people there and tell their stories in an authentic way. And I think even just travelling there to meet them in person and spending time helps with that. But it's fantastic that they were so encouraging as well, and that everybody, like with the, with the booty in Provence, it's a skill that's potentially, dying out really. And so again, like being able to bring things like that to a new audience, and the Welsh patchworks, everything we do, we feel like it's fantastic to share it with all of you guys and teach you some skills. So you can jump into the Spirit of Hawaii workshop right now if you wanted to by using your discount code. So we're just going to show you that coupon again, and it is for 15% off. And I've forgotten what the actual Explore
code
15.
is. Explore 15 gets you 15% off any single workshop or a passport or any of the previous on-demand ones like the Spirit of Hawaii.
Yes. So it's quite interesting how the Hawaii... Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Let's
because
give
I'm
away.
excited about what's coming next.
We're going to give the threads away first.
Okay.
So I think hopefully we can see a winner. Well, hopefully you can. Can we see who has won the Orifil thread collection?
Cynthia Sifri has won.
Cynthia. Yes, we know that name. Well done, Cynthia. Please message us your details and we'll get this thread collection out to you. Well done for winning that. Okay, now you can go on.
Okay, so we did the Hawaii workshop. We made the kappa quilt that's behind us. We did our needle turn applique. And then we were planning our Scotland workshop, which is the next one that's coming up at the end of September. And it's to stitch a seascape. But the skills are very, very transferable. And you'll be seeing a little bit more about that shortly in our exclusive film coming up. So I chose to do the Scottish seascape, but based on the photos and the memories of our trip to Oahu and Hawaii. And I've had a really good time, haven't I? They're all a bit fed up with me because I've been like, can't do that. I've just got to get back to my stitching. But I mean, I'm a quilter and a little bit artistic, but I feel like it was a total challenge for me, but manageable. Because we were editing, we'd filmed and edited all the tutorials, so I was watching and learning and testing it all out. And just something really new and different, I think. Totally different. So I'll give you a little look at that now overhead. So these are the red cardinals. Never seen these before, only in Charlie Harper Fabrics and Paintings when we got to Hawaii and they were on the beach, and Chris took some beautiful photographs that I used for the inspiration, and a nice sandpiper that we saw as well. Hawaii coloured fabrics for the sea and the waves. Popped a little whale in there.
Because we saw some whales, didn't we?
We did see some whales, and then these little islands that you could see off Kailua. So it's all then pieced and quilted. You quilt the sky and the sea all different. You do techniques with cotton organdy so that these are kind of slightly raised, and the same for the waves. So I've just had lots of fun, and I guess for me now it's just a lovely memory of that place.
You've done a very, very good job. We're all actually a bit jealous, really, aren't we?
Well, but you're going to work on yours.
I'm definitely going to do mine. I haven't started yet, so I'm a bit behind, but I am definitely going to do one, And it just, that's it. I think when we first saw some of these seascapes that Sheena had done, they might look a bit intimidating, but the lessons that she does are so well broken down, and piece by piece you can get there and make a beautiful seascape like Jenni has.
Yeah. We've known Sheena for quite a few years at Festival of Quilts, and so we were really excited when she agreed to let us travel up to Inverness and film with her. She's never done an online workshop before, so again, it's another first for her. She's taught all around the world in person, but never done this project, so it's very exciting.
Yeah.
So the last giveaway.
One last giveaway of the final passport of the day, yeah. So you can enter again.
I give up
for the last
exclamation mark giveaway.
Yeah, exclamation point giveaway. And don't worry if you're not getting a confirmation. You absolutely have been entered. You can only enter once, so you only need to type it in once, and then we will get all those enters. So yeah,
our last film is. It's Sheena talking about her sources of inspiration. So a sneak peek about our next workshop, Scenic Scotland.
My name is Sheena Norquay. I'm originally from the Orkney Islands, which lie to the north of Scotland. I've been a quilter and a patchworker since the early 1970s, but one of the things I enjoy making most are seascapes, and I think that's because of my island heritage. Orkney lies just to the north of Scotland. It's separated from Scotland by the Pentland Firth, which is notorious for sea wrecks, not so much nowadays because they've got radar and things. I live on the island of South Ronaldsay, which is one of over 70 islands or more. Not all of them are inhabited, but the mainland is the main island, which it's got two towns, Kirkwall and Stromness. So Kirkwall is the capital city of Orkney, and it's got a long history, inhabited by Pictish people originally, and then we were invaded by the Vikings, of course. And so there's a lot of place names that originate from Viking words. So now that I live in Inverness, the main beach that I visit is Nairn Beach, which is about 15 miles east of Inverness, and it's got lovely golden sands and really interesting rocks. And the only thing is the sea's a slightly different colour from the islands. In this workshop, I'm going to take you through the stages I go through in creating a seascape. Now, the first thing I do when I want to do a seascape is I obviously go and take lots of photographs of different beaches. Now, having been born and brought up in Orkney, I have quite a lot of photographs of the beaches there, so I'm going to show you one or two. On the top left here, we've got one near where I live, and one of the things that fascinates me is the effect of the light on the sea. It can be lots of different lights all the way around the island, and sometimes it can be raining in one area and it can be bright sunshine in another area. This one here was taken looking across towards the island of Swanna. Now, when I was a little girl, there was a man who came to visit us called Arthur of Swanna, and he looked like Santa Claus because he had this big white bushy beard, and he used to come and meet my father and, you know, exchange ideas about cattle farming and things like that. Now it's owned by a family who have wild cattle there, and scientists are quite interested in studying these cattle because they've inbred quite a bit. I also have happy memories of the beach here because my late mother and my sister used to go there when I used to go home on holidays. And my sister used to sit and finish off her knitting garments, and my mother used to sit and smoke her cigarettes. Sometimes I take photographs when the sun's going down, and again you get this beautiful golden light shining on the sea. It's not always as calm as what you can see in that photograph. Here again is an example of the light shining on the sea, and it just gives a rather nice effect. Usually the islands appear quite dark near the foreground but very pale in the background, and that's something to remember when you're creating a seascape. These two here are taken from the island of Glimsholm, looking across to the island of Bury. Now in the wartime, the the British Army built a lot of lookout points here because the German submarines used to come in through this part, and they had lots of battlements with guns. You can see one of the block ships that the army sunk to stop the submarines coming in, but unfortunately one got through here and sunk the Royal Oak, which was sunk in Scapa Flow. Anyway, I love the colours of the sea here because usually in the distance you get this really bright blue, and coming towards the sand you can see how the colour changes to a turquoise and then a sort of greyish turquoise as you know the water gets more shallow. And I also love the curves that you get on some of these beaches. This is another favourite beach of mine on the east side of the island, and this old church has a stone which was erected in the year 2000 by some local guys to mark the millennium. And they have lots of picture symbols carved on it, as well as a hole that goes through the middle. And that was a Norse thing that they used to do. They used to pass babies through holes in these stones when they baptised them, and also couples exchanged vows when they got married. Anyway, again, you can see how the sky is quite different in the photograph on the left to the photograph on the right. And again, the sea changes colour, and sometimes if there's seaweed under the sea, it gives a darker colour as you're coming in towards the waves breaking. You can also notice in this one how you get different colours on the sand. The dry sand obviously is much lighter, and the darker sand is obviously darker. Also, when I'm taking photographs, sometimes there's boulders and pebbles, you know, of different sizes that I take photographs of as well. And where the tide has washed up, again you can see the colour contrast between the dark and the light sand, and all these tiny little pebbles and shells that have been washed up. So I take lots of photographs of that. And close-ups too of the foam. Once the waves have broken, you get all these beautiful bubbles. And I've used that idea in several of my pieces. Again, some beaches have lots of tiny little shells and stones, whereas others don't. And again, you can see all the different patterns that you get with the waves breaking and the sea going out, leaving all these lovely shapes. Sometimes the water's very calm, and again you can see the gradation of colour going from very pale blue to dark blue. You can see this is not exactly a beach. This is what we call a gyo, which is a narrow inlet in between cliffs up in the Orkney Islands. So I also study the formation of the cliffs. A lot of the cliffs have these ridges of rock, and obviously sometimes you get the seagulls nesting or the kittiwakes nesting. And they're all quite different in colour. Some of them are grey and they have yellow lichen and green lichen. Others are more of a kind of sandstone colour. You also get all these kind of cracks and bits that are flaking off. And sometimes you get lovely boulders with bits of grass growing in the cracks and different plants. I like to take close-ups of the lichens here. And I love the sea pinks. You'll find sea pinks in quite a lot of my work. Because they're a plant that grow quite a lot on the islands. I also take photos of boulders and stones, and again you can see in these three photographs here the colours are different because they were all taken at different beaches. But I love the shapes of the pebbles, you know, once the sea's worn away all the sharp edges. And this was taken at Nairn Beach, and again they've got lovely rock pools there. And they've got these lovely lines on some of the rocks. And this one we've got different colours again, and sometimes you get these green algae growing on the rocks. There's another one that I took in Nairn with these lovely lines, and you can see how there's greys and pinks and lights and darks. Sometimes the pebbles get embedded into the rocks, sometimes they leave holes. And you also get these lovely shells growing, different scales. Sometimes they're large, sometimes they're small. And limpets also inhabit a lot of these rocks. Another feature that you'll see in my work are these kind of rivers of water flowing from the land out to the sea. There's quite a lot of springs round about the coasts up in Orkney, so that's how you get all the water flowing out. Footprints, I also take photographs, bird footprints, human footprints. These little wiggly things that are done by what we call spoots or razor shells. They dig these holes in the sand and then they spurt out. I suppose that this goes through their bodies, I don't know. But you'll see the holes and the little piles of tube-like shapes together. And then again, I like the lines that are made on the sand by the action of water and the contrast between the water and the rain. Sometimes if it rains, you get a texture. And of course, when the sea goes out, you get all these lovely patterns with water in between the ridges of sand. And I've used that quite a lot in my work. Also, I look at seaweed. You get different types of seaweed. You get bladder wrack, you get toothed wrack. They're not all the same. They're different colours. Some of them are almost black, like that one there, whereas some of them are more yellow-green and some of them are more orange. Some of them are textured. Some of them are very smooth. Some of them grow in clumps, little clumps on the rocks, and some of them lie in the sand. But one of my favourites, I think, is the bladder wrack, which you can see is a close-up there. And here we've got it lying on dry sand. And this one as well is another type of seaweed. So there's all kinds of seaweed. So here we've got oyster catchers, which feature a lot in my work. So you can see them in the top two photographs. Also, this one was taken at Nairn Beach, and you can see black-headed gulls. And I like the shape of the black-headed gulls. And of course the common herring gull with the red dot on its beak and the pink legs, and sometimes you see them along the River Ness. And I used to think they were dancing, but actually what they're doing when they pitter-patter with their feet, they're trying to get the worms to come up to the surface for food. And these gulls were actually taken in New Zealand, so they were a bit different to our black-headed gulls, different in shape and so on. And then you get different birds which poke their beaks in the sand looking for worms. And these are actually oyster catchers in New Zealand, and they're totally black as compared to the black and white ones, you know, that we have. So I've shown you photographs of where I'm from and the colours that are in Orkney, but the colours in Orkney are not necessarily the colours where you live. So you don't need to use the colours that I use. You can go out and take your own photographs of where you live and use the colours that you see round about you.
I think we could probably sit and listen to Sheena with her beautiful accent all day, couldn't we?
Yeah, and she's such an amazing teacher, isn't she?
Yeah.
Absolutely worth learning from her if you can. Okay, so we're going to find out who the final winner is of the
passport.
The passport, yeah. So let's see who's won that third passport that we're giving away.
So that means that you'll get to do Scenic Scotland and the following two workshops, the locations of which haven't yet been revealed, but as we said earlier, they're going to be world first, aren't they? Yeah. And it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. So, is it coming up?
Oh, Sonia Oberman.
Well done, Sonia. You have won a passport. Yay, well done.
But hopefully, I think, well, people have been saying in the comments that it's just been really lovely to hang out and to find out a little bit more as well. And we've still obviously got the special discount code as well that anybody can use. So if you want to join us, then you can. And also there was a question earlier, if people already have a passport and they want to renew it, whether or not they can use that code. And we've spoken to Quiltfolk and they've said you can for your next renewal, but you can actually set that up now. And Chris has very kindly just put together a graphic as well, which I think we'll be able to show you on the screen, so that if you go to your account on Quiltfolk's website, where there's the option, you can see that you already have a passport, then you'll be able to put that same code in there, that Explore 15, and it means that you can do your next renewal at that discounted rate.
So it's in the subscriptions part of your accounts page there. So so just to remind as well, for the code lasts until next Friday, which is September the 15th. So you've got just over a week to use that discount coupon there of Explore 15 to get your money off a workshop and join us.
Yes, and we mentioned right back at the beginning that we've got new dates where the Magic of Wales workshop is going to be rerun again. We're going to be presenting that live with new and exclusive footage. If you've taken that workshop already, you will get an invitation and you can come along to that event for free. But if you have purchased it, or you purchase it before the 15th of September or before that live in December, then come along and enjoy the fun with us as well. And we can't wait to see you.
Yeah. So we've got a catchphrase, haven't we? And it is,
all quilters are on a journey.
So together we will make it the adventure of a lifetime.
Yeah, and we're obviously having a fantastic time producing these workshops. A big thank you to the guys for their tech on the road and this evening, but for all the Quiltfolk crew as well over in Portland, Oregon, who help us put these together. And thank you to you guys for coming. We hope that you feel inspired and entertained. If there's any questions, we'll obviously be going to sleep for a little while because it's about 2 o'clock in the morning here. But you can contact us or Quiltfolk as well, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We'll get all those prizes sent out.
Yeah, well done if you've been a winner tonight, but hopefully you've enjoyed it even if you haven't been.
And to finish off, we've probably overrun, but we are just going to play the trailer for Scotland as well. So enjoy that and have a very good night.
Yeah, see you soon. Adventure with Quiltfolk and immerse yourself in the natural beauty, history and textile traditions of scenic Scotland.
My name is Sheena Norquay. I'm originally from the Orkney Islands, which lie to the north of Scotland. I've been a quilter and a patchworker since the early 1970s, but one of the things I enjoy making most are seascapes, and I think that's because of my island heritage. In this workshop, I'm going to show you how to do seascapes. It involves quite a number of techniques. You don't need to use them all. I'll break them down step by step to show how easy it is, and I hope you'll have a lot of fun. You start to stitch, you get completely lost in what you're doing, and it's totally absorbing because you're thinking about colour, you're thinking about design, and just the actual act of making is what I really love.
All quilters are on a journey.
Together we'll make it the adventure of a lifetime.